What's up, everyone? Nan Man here, and we're back with another episode on Nan Man's Nerd Corner. And the last episode was all about esports. This one we're going to get back just to kind of the nerdy tabletop aspect, because I have gotten back into Warhammer, specifically Warhammer 40k. I do have fantasy armies, but they are not all built, nor are they all painted. If you want to know what the fantasy stuff is, I'll talk about that real quick, since I'm not playing it at the moment, and I don't have it all built, but I do have lizardmen as my army, and I started gathering up a bunch of gobos, so I can have some goblins at one point that I never really finished. A lot of like the spider riders and stuff like that. I was like, oh, I want to make a whole goblin army, because that would be fun, and then I never finished working on fantasy. And then I just got some wood elves from my brother, who has basically said, you know what, I'm trying to downsize and get rid of a bunch of stuff, take this. He also had, and I can't even remember the name of it because I had no desire to play this, but basically like this empire army with a bunch of muskets and guns and stuff like that. So you can leave in the comments and be like, oh, it's obviously this army. What are you talking about, Nan? So I have those armies set aside for all of my stuff. But I'm not playing that. I am back into 40k stuff. So I'm going to talk a little bit about 40k today, getting back into Warhammer altogether over the last couple of months, essentially. It's been my desire. Part of it, and part of the reason that I decided to get back into it, is because my buddy from college has been bugging me for years now. Like, hey, we were roommates in college, and we never played, and I've been wanting to play. So why haven't we played yet? And, it basically, we still see each other like, 2-3 times a year. And so it's like, okay, I hear it. I've been hearing it for years now. I got you, man. I'm going to get back into it, and I'll start building. And so I had a bunch of army that were built and not painted. And so my goal was to get around and paint everything up that I already had built, that I just never finished. And then once that's done, I'll start building again. So I'm in the finishing touches of my painting phase right now, which has been a lot of fun, because part of the thing with painting back when I started, so I started in high school, which is, early 2000s, mid 2000s, around that period. I started, and in college when I played, so like 2007 was when I was really getting big into it, right at that kind of time period there. And for context, for people to understand just how different of a landscape that was, YouTube was created in 2005. So the content for being able to look up how to paint things was not readily available at that time. If you wanted to learn how to paint stuff, there were essentially textbooks and books and things that were like, here's how you should do this, and here's these techniques, and there's pictures of what they should look like. But I am not a good learner through that method. I need videos. I need the audio portion. I need alternate ways for me to learn. So I stumbled across some awesome painting stuff. In particular, one of my favorites, Midwinter Minis, on YouTube. If you aren't familiar with them, you should check them out. They do some awesome work. And there's a bunch of stuff, right? Dana Howell does some stuff I've seen on Instagram a lot, and now I'm checking out some of her videos as well. I could sit here and list off all of the YouTubers, but I'm not going to do that right now. The point is that there's so much content out there now that you can consume and learn different techniques, and they have beginner guides to stuff as well as more advanced stuff. So it's very cool to see how to do things. So I'm having fun just not spending as much time painting as I did before. I'm not getting bogged down and caught up in the stress of, oh, it has to be perfect. I need to spend so much time on each individual mini. My goal for this now, which is cool if you're doing that, but my goal is, hey, I'm trying to build an army. So my goal is to be able to get an army playable that me and my buddy can be able to play with. So that's the plan. And don't waste time on minis, right? Because when it's on a table to play, you're not going to notice those fine details. You want it to at least look cool enough. It's going to be the same sort of style that the rest of your army is going to be, but not just being everything looks the same, have some uniqueness to it. So I have 3 armies that are ready to go, painted up, playable today, which is Tyrannid, Space Marines, and Space Orcs. I have small battalions, small groups of things, not very many points worth of Tau. I have a couple of Necrons, just like a couple sprinklings of other units, but at least a decent sized army for Space Marines, Tyrannid, and Space Orcs. If you can't tell, I'm a big fan of the Swarmy style with Tyrannid and Space Orcs. And putting this in context for people that aren't as familiar with the 40k stuff, if you're familiar with StarCraft, right? So Space Marines are basically Terran, all right? Tyrannid are basically Zerg. Space Orcs don't really fit for Protoss, but they're kind of almost a mix of both a Terran and a Zerg playstyle, right? If you're sending a bunch of boys out, you're swarming on the ground, but you could also have some mech units because my orcs are all about scavengers and repurposing stuff because that seems so much fun. Here's a bunch of mech related stuff and things that I can use and do with that. So yeah, we got some cool stuff going on with the Warhammer 40k. I'm having so much fun being able to rebuild stuff and play and get these armies ready. Now, a lot of my books are outdated because we're in 9th edition now. But the basic rule sets are still the same. All right, I'm not worried about that changing, but I'm very excited to actually get down and play. I'm most excited to be playing, and I think I'll be playing as orcs for the first time playing, or Tyrannid. I'm not really sure because I asked my buddy, here's the 3 races of armies that I for sure have built. What do you want to play? And he said he wants to play Space Marines. Straightforward. Hey, tanks, cool, Marines, I got this. I know how this works. And said, all right, perfect. So we're going to do a little mini battle. And what's fun about 40K and tabletop gaming in general, when you look at it almost from a board game perspective, is what is the replay value of the deck or of the game or of whatever you're doing. Well, this one, because you can change the way that you play, you can be like, all right, we're capping it 200 points each, capping it 500 points each, we're capping 1,000 points. The objective can change. You could say, we're doing a capture the point. Here's a big circle in the center. If you control this at the end of your turn, you get a victory point, essentially. Whoever has the most victory points at the end wins. You play for X amount of turns. You say, we'll play for 6 rounds. And whoever has the most at the end of those 6 is the winner. You could do it based on, you have this bunch of tanks on your side. Well, my objective is to kill all the tanks. And I have 5 rounds to kill your tanks. And if any of your tanks live, you win. Right? So you can adjust and change and do different things for it. So I'm really excited for testing out those different ways to play and do things. So, I mean, I'm really excited to get back into building because that was the part that I liked the most, it felt like, is being able to craft and build cool things and be like, okay, what, how do I want these to look? And so I spent a lot of time building, and now I'm like done with the painting phase and ready to move on to the building phase. So I'm really excited to see how that works out going forward here. But that's kind of our breakdown. We will be doing some stuff about Warhammer, board games, Magic, just basically going deeper into our nerdy aspect of things. So be aware, keep your eyes peeled as we start delving deeper and deeper into more nerdy stuff. We did a breakdown of the stuff we're watching and everything. that has not changed, so I'm not going to be going over that. Our reading stuff hasn't really changed either. So, things are pretty much the same as it goes. So, if you guys enjoy this content, make sure you're subscribing, hitting the follows, spreading the word, letting people know of the cool stuff that we've got going on over here. But thanks so much for tuning in and listening, guys, and I'll catch you guys next game.